Example number 3. Let's extend our discussion from linears to linears and quadratic systems. So a system, again, it's a group of questions, more than one. And here we can have them where one of them is linear and one of them is quadratic. This makes it a grade 11 because a quadratic is an x squared. So the first ones here, example 3, all want us to do this by graphing. It says using a graphing calculator as an aid. We will do that without a graphing calculator at all. So you need to get y alone, which for the first one already is. In fact, the second one already is as well. It has an x squared in this first one, and it's already in vertex form. So you can get the vertex from here. It's the opposite of 2, so -2, and then that is -1. So my vertex is -2 and -1. And then from there you have a over, and the number in front here is a +1. So it's going to go up 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 5. And because it's a +1, we don't have to multiply this by, well, you could multiply it all by the 1, but multiplying by 1 just gets you the exact same number. So we're going to go over 1, up 1, over 1, up 1, 2, 3, over 1, up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, is this an absolute value? No, it's not. So we don't have to flip anything that's down below. If it was absolute value, we'd have to flip this bottom part up, but it's not. So we'll just connect the dots. And then we have 1/2 x. Now this is not an x squared, therefore, so like here, this is an x squared, so it's a parabola. So it would look something like that. And this does not have an x squared, it's just an x, so it is just a line. So keep that in mind. Without an x is a line, without an x squared, it's a line. With an x squared, it's a parabola or a U-shaped. So this is missing, this has a y equals mx, so our m is given to us, it's a half. A rise over a run, we're rising a +1, so that means up, and a +2, which means right. And our b value, our starting point, isn't written here, and so it would have been a +0. That's what we don't write +0s, which is why it wasn't shown. But our b value is indeed 0. So we're going to start at the 0, and then we're going to have a slope of 1/2. So we start at the 0, and we have a rise of 1. Whoops. Rise of 1/2. Up 1/2. Up 1/2. I'll do the same to the other side. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. Down 1, left 2. So you draw those, and you can see that they cross right there. So what is that point? Well, it's -1, -2, so -2 down 1. So if they ask what is the x value, well, the x value is -2. If they also want you to find the y, well, it's easy enough here because it's just a point. Well, the y is -1. Now, let's look at b. So we have a first equation, get the y alone, it already is. The second equation, get the y alone, it already is. The first equation here is not in a vertex form, so that's the first thing I need to do. So y is equal to x something squared. And just as a recall, you take the middle number, -2, and cut it in half to -1, and then take that number and divide it by the number in front. There is nothing there. So -2 cut in half is -1, and then that's it. So we just leave it as -1. Then we're at -1 squared. Now -1 squared is 1, times by the number in front, where there is none. So we're at 1, and we need to get to -3. So on a number line, here's 1, here's 0, here's -3. So I'm at 1, I need to get there. I have to subtract 4. So I'm going to subtract 4. So our vertex here then would be +1, its opposite, and -4. And we would have some sort of over, and the a value here is just a 1, so it's going to be up. It's a +1, so it's because it's positive, it's going to be up. And 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 5. So we've got over 1, up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 5, but we have our vertex 1, -4. So 1, comma, -4, just a little bit lower here. 1, comma, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then from there, over 1, up 1, over 1, up 3, over 1, up 5, over 1, up 7, which I'm not even going to be able to do. Is there absolute values around it where I have to flip anything? No, there's not. So I just have this quadratic. There we go. So obviously this looks disgusting, but you can maybe do a bit of a better drawing. The second equation does not have an x squared, so it is just a line. We have a slope here of -2. -2 is over a number, it's over 1, which is our rise and our run. So we're going to have, we're going to rise down because it's negative, and it's a +1, so we're going to run right. So we're going to go down to right 1, and our b value, our starting point, is our y-intercept, which is here at 1. So I'm going to start at +1 on my y, and then go down to right 1. Down to 1, 2, right 1. Down 2, 1, 2, right 1. Nice, the overlap there. Down 2, right 1, down 2, right 1. Up to left 1. So start from here again. Up to left 1, up to left 1. Nice, they cross there. Up to left 1, up to left 1. So it's hard to draw this, but we get that, and they cross here, and they cross there. So we cross 2 spots. Again, if they just wanted the x values, we could do those. The x value is -1, -2, so I cross when x is -2, and over 1, down 2. Yeah, or sorry, over 1 by 2. So x equals -2, and x equals +2. But I'm just going to write the points. So I'm going to go -1, -2, and up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So -2, comma 5, and then right 2. Down 1, 2, 3, down by so -3. So those are our two. If they ask for our x's, great, -2, +2. If they ask for our y's, great, 5 and -3. Now let's look at the last one. Okay, it's an absolute value, and it looks like this: x squared plus 0x minus 3. So we might have looked at it that way. So half of 0 is 0. Half of 0 is 0. 0 divided by the number of front is still 0. And then we have 0 squared. 0 squared is 0 times by the number in front, which is a 1, which is still 0. So 0 times 1 is 0. So I'm at 0. And I need to get to -3, so I take -3. So I have to write my vertex. My vertex is 0, comma -3. And then I have an over and an up. So it is still up, because the number in front is a 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3, 5, and to +1, which is why we're heading up, and because it's a 1, I'm not going to multiply this by anything. So now I need to just graph this. My vertex is 0, comma -3, so over 0, down 3, over 1, up 1, over 1, up, 1, 2, 3, over 1, up, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 7. Now it is an absolute value, so I'm going to go like this till I hit there, and here, hit there, and then this stuff has to flip up. So this is down below, so it flips up to here by 2. This is down by 3, so I'll go up 3. This is down by 2, so I'll go up 2. So I'm going to go like that. So this is what my drawing looks like. That's an absolute. It's the very first one where there's an absolute. My second equation, get y alone, it already is. This is y equals 6. So there's a 0x plus 6. You don't see an x there because there was a 0. And a 0 is our slope. We have 0 slope. A 0 slope is something that's horizontal. It's a horizontal line. That's your favorite type of walk, something that never has to go up or go down. It's just straight flat. So our starting point is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we have a slope of 0. So we're going to create a horizontal line. So this is a weird question for a few reasons. First, the x squared is missing the middle term. that makes it very challenging. So you have to add in the 0x. And then once you actually graph it, you have to make sure you flip the stuff that's down below. Anything that's down here had to get flipped up. So we flipped everything up. And once we had that, we got this line, y equals 6, which also is weird because you're missing the 0x. So they're both missing a 0x. And that is a horizontal line. You might want to write that here. If you have, just as a note, if you have y equals 6, that is a horizontal line at 6. If you have x equals 6, that is a vertical line at 6. So, in case you're wondering, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if y equals 6 right here, that is going to be a line that's right there at 6. And then if you had x equals 6, that means you're going to have a vertical line right there. So I'll pause that because both of those sort of make a play at some point in these notes and in the worksheets. You need to remember which one is which. Now, we have this. We still haven't solved the question. We need to look at where it crosses. It crosses here and crosses here. So those points are 1, 2, 3, and up 6. So -3 and up 6. And then 1, 2, 3, and up 6. So those are our two answers. If we were asking just for the negative, or for the x's, we can say, well, our x's are -3 and +3. If they want the y's, we can say, well, if x is -3, we'll get a y of 6. If x is +3, we'll also get a height of 6. So it depends on what they're asking, but typically leaving it like this, or just writing x is equal to 3 and x is equal to -3 as two answers also could work. Again, depends. Do they want the points or do they want just the x values?